Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we got a little bit of a shorter video today, but it's quite interesting news. You see, SEGA have posted their most recent financials. This is for Q3 of 23-24, so this financial year. And there's actually a few things to discuss because it does affect Total War. It kinda explains a bit of the reasonings of what's been happening lately, and maybe what's to come in the future. You see, over here we can see the unit sales for the major IPs, Sonic, Total War, Persona, and Like a Dragon. And what we can see is in the year, so the financial year 23-24, there's been a major downturn in terms of sales for the Total War series. This is kind of expected considering that, well, you know, things haven't been going too well. Total War Pharaoh didn't sell as much as expected, and yeah, you know, that has to take into account the refunds that had to come into effect because the game was then turned from a $60 game into a $35, I think it is now. And then obviously there was Shadows of Change, which again didn't really do too well for obvious reasons, which is what we're dealing with right now, waiting for the expansion to the DLC. Now, I'm not a financial expert by any means of the word, it's just kind of curious to know this stuff, and obviously there's been an upturn because at certain points, very heavy sales come into effect, and people are going to be buying more. It's not just Total War Warhammer included here, but Total War in general. However, if you compare it to the last year, you can see that the finances are very different. Obviously, much less sales in this recent financial year than the last. The last had a little bit more because, you know, the Chaos Dwarfs came in. Then you had access to Immortal Empires because it's a 2022 to 2023 thing, with their financial year ending in April, I believe. Alright, it ends in the last day of March, which is actually only a month off from that of the United Kingdom, so that's actually quite good. It does help us kind of see the trend of what has been happening lately. Well, we're all obviously aware, but this kind of links up to why certain things are happening. Not just the whole layoff situation, which has obviously been unfortunate. There's been a lot of good staff members at Creative Assembly who have been let go, which is ridiculous, but yeah, you know, SEGA. This obviously explains why they're trying to update the whole thing with Shadows of Change and give us some new content, because that means that they can generate some more sales from it. Surprise, surprise, I know. It's an obvious thing, but there's more to talk about here, because naturally they're trying to get this done before the end of financial year, so the end of financial year is not that bad. You might be aware of how corporate tax works and so on. I've been dealing with that with myself because obviously I have to run this channel like a business, so I have to run tax. It's trying to make the numbers look good, and I don't even have shareholders, right? Which is why I think, due to how poorly the year is currently going for them, even though the numbers still look fairly decent, they're likely going to throw out Thrones of Decay prior to the end of financial year. I can imagine this coming out for April. Honestly, yes. If you go through the blog, you'll notice that they do mention Thrones of Decay a few times, and pretty much just saying, you know, anything that is changing in terms of formatting for that of Shadows of Change will also be seen the same in Thrones of Decay. I also wouldn't be surprised if DLC comes out a little bit quicker, just to kind of make the scope a little bit smaller, but increase revenue. It is very much dependent on how things go with Shadows of Change and Thrones of Decay, I do believe, because SEGA at the end of the day will see the sales and go, well, this is worth it, or maybe Total War Warhammer 3 has kind of run its course. And I think that's a big reason why we've been getting a lot of hints from the blog about future stuff. You know, outright saying Catherine Sled in an email saying that, yeah, we're going to get the Law of Hags. Stuff for the future, like the hot pots for the halflings, which we'll talk about in a future video. And even just kind of saying, you know, the Monkey King is coming. They're trying to increase the hype, because overall that will increase sales for even other products, which will mean that Warhammer will continue to get some support. At least that's the way I'm kind of seeing it. Especially since Creative Assembly don't outright name future stuff for very different reasons, right? Sometimes it's just, maybe this stuff doesn't come out, maybe it's way down the line and they don't want people to ask constantly. Like if you remember with the whole thing with Thanquol, they confirmed Thanquol's coming. Thanquol still isn't here, this has been a number of years now, and they even asked people, like, can you stop asking about Thanquol? I imagine Creative Assembly must be in a little bit of a panic, and they must be pushing, and this is why they're pushing for Shadows of Change, for Thrones of Decay, and whatever the new DLC ends up being after that. that might end up being a bit of a deciding factor to what we see in terms of support for Warhammer 3, and maybe avoiding the chopping block once again from SEGA. We're going to have to wait and see. Now, this doesn't mean go and buy Shadows of Change. You should only buy it if you think that the content is worth it. We still haven't seen the last 2 races, so I think they said that they were going to get more information next week, so that will also help you decide. But I feel like this was kind of important to talk about because we can see how much is being done in terms of unit sales. I imagine a unit is like a full game price. I don't know if they kind of count DLCs as full game price here. There isn't a lot of mentions for Creative Assembly here. They do talk about the restructure. Keep in mind it hasn't only been CA. They've been hitting basically all of the European section. They've even got a new head there. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the comments below. If you're a financial expert, it would be nice to have like a little bit of a comment down there just to explain this stuff. Again, I am by no means a financial expert. I'm going behind what I currently know of this and pretty much hypothetical in the future regarding future content. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I do apologize if the sound is a bit off. There's been a hell of a storm. It's required me to start and stop recording a few times, which has been absolutely annoying. But yeah, have a good day, guys. I am off to record a battle report. You guys should see that starting again next week. There's been a bit of delay, but there's new equipment, so I think you guys are going to like how everything looks as from then on.